I'm not gonna lie, I got ready in like 10 minutes so that I could film the intro to this video. Pretty proud of myself. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and thank you guys so much for bearing with me in this weird quarantine time of life. I have not been posting that regularly, but I am making a lot of videos and I'm excited about the videos that I have coming up on my channel soon. They're all pretty fun, and this was actually one of them. This is an idea that I've had for a while. I think I originally had this idea around April when all of these art trends started coming out at the beginning of quarantine and everybody was like jumping on the bandwagon. So I saved the footage from all the various art challenges that I did over the past several months, and I put it into one video so that I could talk about each of these challenges and invite you all to participate in these challenges as well, even though the window of trendiness might have passed. These were still really fun challenges, and I highly recommend you try them out for yourself. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to watch them right along with you so we can talk about it. The first challenge is the 6 fan arts challenge. I learned about this challenge from Catnip, and basically it just kind of blew up over on like Twitter and Instagram, and I asked you guys, I think on Twitter, for recommendations, maybe also on Instagram. I might have asked you on Instagram stories to tell me which characters you wanted me to draw, and the 6 characters that you guys suggested were Kim Possible, Sailor Moon, Lucio from Overwatch, not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, I have literally never played Overwatch, Edward from Full Metal Alchemist, Isabelle from Animal Crossing, and Appa. By the way, I just finished rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it is still so good. So I drew Kim Possible first, and funny story, I was actually drawing this in the waiting room of the car shop while I was waiting for my car to get serviced. That's all I really remember about this because I did it so long ago. But I did these all in Procreate, and I basically did all of these really rough sketches all at once, and then I went in and refined the line art for all 6 characters all at once, and then I did the coloring for each character all at once too. It was sort of a fast way of getting through a lot of different sketches at one time without having to switch back and forth between what I was doing every single time. So I did all of my roughs, all of my line art, and then all of my coloring. And side note, I really love the Sailor Moon pinup drawing. I think I might go back and revisit that as like a more full illustration. Lucio from Overwatch was actually a really fun challenge for me. I feel like I followed the reference picture really closely because I felt very out of my element, not being somebody who's ever played Overwatch. I wanted to make sure that I was doing the character justice. But he was pretty fun to draw. Edward Elric is a little weird looking to me. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I love Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's so good. It's probably one of my favorite animes of all time, but he's a tough character for me to draw because he's like a little kid, but at the same time he's like ripped and has these metal limbs. So not sure I did him justice, but I tried my best and I hope that I did my due diligence. Isabelle from Animal Crossing was also surprisingly really hard, and I think what's challenging for me with the Animal Crossing style characters is like the line of motion just always feels a little bit off because their heads are so huge and their bodies are so tiny. So I wasn't super happy with the way that Isabelle came out, and I think by the time I got to Appa, he just looked so creepy that I was like, okay, I think we just have to like get this done. And that's part of the point of these challenges, right? It's not to perfect everything that you do, it's to like get it done quickly so you can like post it while it's still like a popular trend. So time was definitely of the essence. Coloring them was a lot of fun too. I definitely pulled a lot of my color samples directly from the reference pictures just to kind of make things faster, and I thought that that worked pretty well. I think for most of these illustrations I used the 6B pencil brush because I love the texture of it, and it really helped me kind of start to refine my style coloring digitally, which is something I've been doing so much more in the past few months, and I think a lot of that is thanks to this challenge. So we're kind of blowing through the coloring here. It's going to happen really, really quickly before we get on to the next challenge. But I will just sum up by saying I thought this challenge was a super, super fun one, and I would definitely do it again. And if you haven't had the opportunity to do this challenge yet, I highly recommend that you do. On to the next one. This one was a little different for me, but super, super fun. This was going around on Twitter, and basically people would reply to the tweet that you shared with like all these different like outfit items, clothing items, that's what I'm trying to say, clothing items, and they would reply to you the combination that they felt like best fit your aesthetic. And I got 4 replies, so I drew 4 outfits, and I tried to draw them based on like me, my body type, which is like a little bit shorter, curvier, and none of these are outfits that I would say I could like pull off or wear. But I will say that since drawing this, I did buy a short corduroy skirt, and I've been wearing it a lot and loving it. So maybe that was partially inspired by this video. I'm not really sure, but this was a lot of fun for me to draw. It pushed me to try some different poses and just draw things that I don't normally draw, which like just more trendy kind of popular clothing. So this was a lot of fun, I will say. My favorite drawing hasn't come up quite yet, but it should be, I think it's like the 4th one. So streaming this on a live stream too on Twitch, so having you guys kind of give me that commentary and that feedback in real time is something that I always enjoy. And like the last challenge, I had a similar process where I did all of my rough sketches at once off camera before I live streamed this. Then I went back and did all of the line art in one batch, and then all of the coloring in one batch too. I don't know if this is just a me thing, maybe it is, but switching back and forth between different like artistic processes, like sketching versus coloring, will like totally throw a wrench in my creative flow. So typically if I'm having to do a series of things, like 4 different drawings or 5 different drawings, I will do all the roughs at one time, and then all of the sketching and inking and refining at one time, and then all of the coloring. That was largely how I approached my Inktober project for last year, and I think it was pretty much the only reason that I was able to finish that project, is because I was able to like rough everything out at once and then kind of go in and refine it a little bit at a time. So that's a tip for you guys that I have. If you haven't tried that already and you're like wanting to do more of these challenges, that is my recommendation personally. That's just the way that I did it. So the drawing that you're seeing now, this is the one that is my favorite. I think this was probably the closest to an outfit that I would already have or wear. And I just think that it looks the most like my style, my personal style. The other outfits that you guys picked for me were like way too edgy and trendy, and I don't think I could pull them off. But it makes me really happy to know that you guys think I can pull them off. That means a lot. So thank you. And for some reason I don't have the coloring portion for any of those. I don't know what happened, but we're gonna move right on to the next bandwagon that I jumped on, and that was the Sailor Moon redraw challenge. I feel like everyone and their mom did this challenge, basically taking a screen cap from Sailor Moon and redrawing it in your own style. I did the sketch digitally in Procreate, and I did screen recording, which is why it looks all over the place. This was also on a live stream, so you get to see a little bit more of like what my drawing process actually looks like, and if it gives you motion sickness, I'm not surprised. But I ended up sketching this digitally, printing it out onto some mixed media paper, and coloring it traditionally using my Posca pens, which was super, super fun. I feel like I've been loving Posca pens recently, and I just I honestly love working with limited color palettes. It's something I want to improve on a lot in my artwork, and I feel like every time I work with a limited color palette, I'm so happy with the results. So for those of you guys who haven't tried Posca pens, they are a paint pen. I have one size only, and I have 2 different sets of them. I'll have the sets linked down below and an affiliate link in case you're interested in like trying them out. I always get mine on Amazon because I feel like the sets are definitely a better value than buying them in open stock. But having the one size is definitely a challenge in the level of detail that you can get, and having just the limited colors means you really have to think carefully about the colors that you're using. And I knew for this illustration I wanted it to have a very like pastel Lisa Frank kind of vibe, I guess. And you guys on the live stream, I remember for this painting in particular, were really awesome at cheering me on, because I had so many self-doubts during this painting because I was playing around with some of the line work being bright pink, not something I normally do at all, and I was struggling a lot with like how to have it contrasting with colors that were like darker than the pink, and it was a challenge for sure, but you guys really pulled me through it. And at the end of the day, this is like one of my favorite illustrations that I've done this year, so I'm really happy with it. I actually have it like displayed in my office, so I think that says a lot. And even though this is very much not my typical style, it is a style I want to continue to push and explore a little bit more moving forward on my channel. Okay, this next one is my one and only Mer-May illustration for this year. Again, you're kind of seeing the timeline. It is now August. I'm talking about an illustration that I did in May. Things are moving slow for me. I can't really say anything other than that. But again, this was a sketch that I started in my sketchbook, then I moved it over to Procreate so that I could play around with a few different things and try a new coloring strategy that I wanted to try, which was creating this milk bath look. You can see my reference picture there in the corner. It's something that I've always wanted to try. It looks super ethereal, super like serene, and just very pretty. So I found a reference picture that I liked, and then I decided to draw a mermaid character from my Zodiac series, Pisces, which I have not drawn my Zodiac characters in such a long time, so it was a good challenge for me to like revisit a character I hadn't drawn in a while, trying to recreate this look of like a milk bath thing. So anyway, I mostly wanted the reference picture for the coloring portion of the illustration, and mostly like the milk itself, like the different tones of like the liquid that she's in, having it look white but not actually be pure white, because that wouldn't be as effective. So lots of fun with this illustration. Again, I feel like I used almost exclusively the 6B pencil and maybe the HB pencil as well in Procreate. They're just default brushes. They're some of my favorites, and I love using them all the way from the rough sketch through to the final coloring because of the texture that they have. So it's such an underrated brush in my mind. I feel like a lot of people rave about 6B, but the HB brush is also really good. So both of those are lovely. Highly recommend. And yeah, I'm actually super happy with the way that this painting came out. Again, I feel like it's not a color palette I normally work with, so what you can take away from these art challenges or these art bandwagons is that they're gonna push you in a direction that you might have not otherwise gone in with your art. So you're gonna learn a lot and you're gonna grow a lot. Switching gears to the next one. Whoa, that snuck up on me. This is a Draw This in Your Style challenge from an artist that I had recently discovered around this time. I will have him linked down below. Very awesome artist, and I wanted to draw this illustration, and I think I was still kind of coming off the rush of positivity and good feelings that I had from the Sailor Moon illustration, so I wanted to have like a similar look as far as my style went, but for the color palette I much more closely followed the original artist's like color palette, which is also a color palette that I love. That kind of like vintage, rusty mustard and teal combination is so yummy. So yummy. So yeah, this was a fun illustration for me. I really enjoyed making it. I love the old TV and having this character kind of partially within the confines of the TV and then partially outside, kind of breaking that barrier. So cool. And again, I love the limited color palettes here. That's something that I'm really taking away from this video in particular, and seeing all the artwork I've done over the last few months. I'm really seeing that trend of just doing things in a more limited way, because it actually has a really cool result. So we're at the end of the video. That's kind of it. I've jumped on a lot of bandwagons over the past few months. I feel like I learned a lot about my art. I feel like it pushed me in a lot of ways to try something new. And if you guys are wanting to try any of these challenges, I highly recommend that you do. And if so, please tag me in them. Please tag me on Twitter or on Instagram. You can find me. Those links are down below. Send them to me or tag me in them, because I want to see how you guys did these challenges and if you learned something cool from them. Hopefully you like the style of video. If you did, I can definitely do a jumping on bandwagons part 2 video. Comment down below, let me know if you want to see that. But without further ado, guys, I'm gonna let you go, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you on the internet.